This here's from Metal Injection. It's called Marilyn Manson Accuser Comes Forward. This is about exposing an industry that prioritizes profit over the safety of vulnerable young women. And I gotta say, with industries and institutions and things like that, it's not only young women they don't value, it's pretty much everybody as far as their rights, if they're gonna be emotionally affected on the job. Money's the bottom line to them, so that shouldn't be a surprise. It's from July 16th, 2024. Not fresh off the press, but not old either. I must have missed this one. Anyway, here we go. Marilyn Manson, real name Brian Warner, recently returned to the world of music after a string of lawsuits and accusations due to alleged misdeeds over the years. Warner's still battling a handful of those in court, including 2 lawsuits from the now named Bianca Elaine Kine. Also, this apparently is a music publication. It's called Metal Injection. So I think, and Rolling Stone included, that they'd been the side of the musician. Like, hey, this stuff's unproven. Let's stick to talking about the music. But instead, you get this stuff. And speak of the devil, according to a report by Rolling Stone, Kane filed 2 lawsuits in New York and Louisiana as a Jane Doe in January 2023 in Nassau County, New York, and in December 2023 after moving a portion of the New York lawsuit over to Louisiana due to a separate incident taking place there. Kane said she chose to unveil her identity after a recent ruling in the New York court. No longer a nameless victim, I stand before you as Bianca Elaine Kane, a survivor. Today, I reclaim my voice, a voice stolen for far too long, said Kane in a statement released by her lawyer, Jeff Anderson. Now, realize this. We're not going to hear details of anything here. And I get that. Some people might say, well, we can't put out details because those are going to be safe for court. But if you don't have details, it's just smear on someone's name by saying they did this, they did that, but I can't prove it right now. There's no good of it that can come for the person being accused. She continued, for years I live under a shadow, paralyzed by fear, but that fear no longer controls me. It's been replaced by an unwavering pursuit of justice. I stand tall, unafraid. This is not just about my personal story. It's about exposing an industry that prioritizes profit over the safety of vulnerable young women. I explained that before. It's not just women. They're not an industry that's like, we're against women, but men are okay. That's what happens with industries, institutions, and things like that. They care about their profit over the human rights, no matter what the gender is. I guarantee you, if there was something that affected men in their industry specifically, they wouldn't fix it because they're men. They'd let it go in the same way, just as long as the money kept coming in. Kane further alleges he manipulated her into sex in both Uniondale and Buffalo, New York in April 1999 within a span of a few days. We're talking about 25 years ago? Look, if it happened, that's atrocious. If it happened, that's horrible. If it happened, he should be punished for it. But it's 25 years ago. That's a long time to be bringing things up. And I'm sure memories get suppressed. I'm sure things are hurtful to talk about. But 25 years is a long time. It's kind of a catch-22. Look, if the person did it, no matter when they did it, it's wrong. However, when you let that much time go by, there's just no way to prove it. So, it's just equally as wrong if the person's falsely accused. And in that case, the fact is, since it is so long ago, I would say without proof, that's it. It's got to be let go. Not because I side with the man and not the woman, because of time that's passed and the fact it's virtually impossible to prove. And let me say this, if the roles happen to be reversed on something, and the man's like, well, she did this to me 25 years ago, believe me, I'd be like, well, same exact thing. That's a long time. Warner exploited his power and twisted influence to coerce me into his dark desire, said Kane. The young girl he groomed in Louisiana became the victim of his perversion in New York. Details, please. Warner's lawyer Howard King called Kane's claims vicious lies and said the lawsuits amount to nothing more than a shakedown, which is possible. Brian Warner does not know this individual and has no recollection of ever having met her 28 years ago. All right, 28 years ago, King told Rolling Stone. He certainly was never intimate with her. She has been shopping her fabricated tale to tabloids and on podcasts for more than 3 years. But even the most minimal amount of scrutiny reveals the obvious discrepancies in her ever-shifting stories as well as her extensive collusion with false accusers. Right. So, if she's been saying things for 3 years about it, you've got a lot of podcasts and things to look through. And if she's got constant contradictions, what does that say? That says, you know, the great odds are she's lying. Someone who's not lying, hey, they might make some mistakes based on, memories they can't quite recall clearly, but it should be, pretty tight. There should be very few mistakes, and the mistakes that are made should be able to be explained. So I'm going to assume that they looked at her content, and over 3 years, she made a bunch of contradictions. And now, this publication is just saying, hey, look at this. Ooh, this person's now coming out. Anyway.
Let me know what you think in the comments. More on this when it comes up. If you're not subscribed, so consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.